which means like pro players still compete in this, by the way. Like, like again, 3K League like rating is very, very high. So it's, as I mentioned, like it's literally like top 10 players in the world, or top like 16-ish players in the world. So we still have a lot of top players, still have a lot of high tier players as well, as we're featuring them, of course. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Incorporeal, we have the Polish Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing a streamer zone. It is Gerald. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss. We have the red Protoss player from land of Finland. It is Mixu. There's definitely some low league tournaments that happen to be that would be good to play in, for sure, right? Like our own, true. We do host our own amateur tournaments as well. We have a tournament for 4.2k and below, and we have another MMR, not a league like rating, and we have another tournament that we host that is 4.7k and below. And there are other tournaments out there as well that are like 5.3k. I think the God, what's it called? There's like a quote unquote like rising. That's it. There's a Rising Star tournament, which I believe is 5.3k. And there's another tournament that's 5.4k. So there's like some tournaments out there that are like restricted to low GM. They're out there. What else we have? We have the Little Mac League. True. And we have the famed of this. This is where Gemini should be plugging, Pappy. This is where you go. You know, if you really want to compete, you know, with the big dogs, Pappy. All things Protoss Team League. Let's go. Let's go. If you're a Gooner in the chat, we got a team for you. Join the Gooners, Pappy. True. Plug away, Pappy. Plug away. Oh God. Oh no. Now we're settling it. For now, hatch gas pool, standard open, Mixu force take the unnatural natural. Likewise, girls across the map opening up standard as well. Unlike Rebellion who was very cheeky. Oh, right, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. If you're in the chats, predictions. Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat. As you can place your predictions. Coming into this, Gerald is going to be coming in as a favorite player, but I haven't casted Mixu in quite some time, so I'm happy to see how Mixu does perform and how Mixu does compare. Happy to see. What we were getting at is that last series, Rebellion was very aggressive. Rebellion was very cheeky when it came to his builds. Game 1, he rushed into a Dark Shrine. Game 2, an early charge before third base. Both games before the third, early tech. But here, Gerald, he's a lot more standard. He's a lot more standard. He's a little bit more tame, a little bit more one note. We expect to see Stargate, Triple Oracle, third base into +1 and Blink Stalkers. I'm not saying that Gerald never deviates, but his deviations are quite rare. Like, it's quite rare to see Gerald go into like an early glaive timing or go for an early charge timing. So we do expect Gerald to play standard, play safe, and work towards the mid game and work towards the potential late game as well. Meanwhile, Mixu, I haven't been able to cover him in quite some time, so we'll see how he does deviate as well. Against Rebellion, Mixu was very aggressive. Mixu would be going for a lot of 3-base all-ins, and that has been very meta, very, very meta for the majority of the year, I would say. For Zerg players to 3-base all-in in this matchup, different variations. We've seen Hydra-base all-ins, German taxis as well, typically cutting workers at 66 and only getting a 4th base for Larva, right? Typically the 4th base is just for Larva. That's if we're going for an all-in. I expect to see that here at the Mixu again, but we'll see. Maybe against Gerald, he fears his defensive play a little bit more, and he feels the need to go for a longer, later game. Maybe he has less confidence against Gerald. We'll see. But now, nice catch. Gets 1 Adept. 1 Adept does go down. Twilight Council is on the way. Interesting. A little bit of an earlier Twilight Council as the third base was halfway done. Curious. And we'll keep an eye open for the timing of the Forge. If you recall, I was talking about how, like, oh, you know, Gerald, he's typically a little more standard. We don't really expect him to deviate. We're kind of seeing that here. We have extra gateways on the way. Twilight Council. Are we, in fact, going into Glaive Adepts? Show us what you got. As I don't see a Forge. Ah, there it is. Now, I see one now, Pappy. I see one now. So, late Forge. Late Forge here out of Geralt into +1, which means this should not be Glaives. Lings poke in. Safety Roach Warren out of Mixu. Yeah, it does go with the safety Roach Warren. And we should be seeing Blink soon. There it is. So it's a little bit delayed there. I feel like we had the money for it for quite some time, but Blink is now on the way and should be joined by +1 by the Forge. So even though we had the earlier Twilight Council, it didn't really amount to anything too crazy. We just delayed Blink regardless. As long as they collapse on the Adepts. Nice catch here by Mixu. Very nice. Adepts, they get 0 damage. That was a lot of Adepts, by the way. 6 Adepts going down. Did trade against the Lings, but still, I mean, better than losing drones. So Mixu does drone, does saturate. We're taking extra gases here at the 3rd, indicative of further tech. Layers on the way, and we're expecting Hydras here. Technically, this could be Roach into Spire, right? We could be seeing a Spire and Muta play behind this instead. We'll keep an eye on Mixu on his tech of choice. Do we throw down the Hydrogen or the Spire? Meanwhile, Gerald's taking up in towards Storm. So Storm is on the way. We're securing ourselves on 3 bases. Blink is not yet done, but that's a hefty amount of Stalkers regardless, so Gerald, he moves out. This is a little bit risky as he is vulnerable to a surround as he does not have Blink, but with a high enough Stalker count and with Oracle support, he should be okay. Should be okay to move out. Nice catch. Picking up 3 Lings, we have Dropalord on the way. Unless I missed it, there's no Overlord speed. Okay. Okay, let's go. We're setting up for the slow drops. I believe those Lings were rallied to this Overlord, but they're no longer existent. They were just cleaned up. A little bit brutal there for Mixu as he was trying to set up for a counterattack. And Mixu, he is cutting workers at 65. If you remember earlier, I did mention at the start of this game how we saw Mixu go for a bunch of 3-base all-ins. And we were kind of going down the list of different variations of 3-base all-in, how that's been very meta in this matchup for the majority of the year. Well, we're seeing it here. 4th base, just for Larva. Just for Larva. 5th base as well, only for Larva. We're committing Mixu. He's not droning. He's cutting workers early. The extra gases I thought was going to be for further tech. That is not the case. That's not the case. So no Hydrogen. Oh, no, my apologies. Hydrogen is now on the way. A little bit more delayed here, but Mixu, he is still massing up quite an army, and he is ready for his drop. So here we go. Mixu cutting workers at 63. Now he's droning up, though. Oof. Does force a recall. So Mixu, he committed quite hard to this. These drones are quite late, but he is droning. Mixu, he wants to transition out of this. He wants to work towards a longer game. Storm pops up. Oof, brutal Storm. Ling drop into the main. Gerald, he does react. Yeah, it does respond in time. Nice cleanup here by Gerald. And Mixu, he doesn't achieve too much. Nice catch on the High Templar. Gets what he gets through. Yeah, 2 High Templar go down. Nice pickups. So pushing in. Ooh, it's going to be a one-way trip. We're going to be getting out a lot of Roaches here. Yeah, Ling drop is cleaned up, but Roaches, they get shut down. 4 Roaches try to get away, and they barely will, thanks to the creep. And now I'm worried. I'm concerned for Mixu. Now, a couple of things here. Oh, as we're losing queens. Oh, God. 3, 4 queens getting picked up. Ay, ay, ay. Probe. Get out of here. But what's scary about Mixu is that right now he has a decent drone count. That's true, but that wasn't always the case. Late droning, late saturation out of Mixu. This 4th base and the 5th base have been unsaturated for the majority of their time here, which means even though he now has a decent drone count, the economy isn't kicking in fast enough. It's a delayed economy. And Gerald, he has a lead, he has the advantage as he has been successfully defending on 3, now 4 bases. Gerald has momentum, he can now start to move out. Never mind, he does have momentum. He is going into Skytoss. Never mind. Fleet Beacon's on the way. I do think that Gerald has the potential to push. I mean, Mixu's supply blocked. Oof. Mixu, he is supply blocked. He can't reinforce. But Gerald, he isn't pressing his advantage. We have +1 air attack. 2nd Stargate on the way. We're committing into Skytoss. So Gerald, he is doing enough to maintain his position, but looks like he doesn't really have any intentions to commit to a push. So he's just going to maintain his position here. Harassing, we've got Zelts on the right, Void Ray on the left, Stalkers in the center. His goal just to buy time for what? For Skytoss, as we have 3 Stargates soon to be set up. So more Stargates. Tempest are on the way. And Mixu's on a timer. Mixu is on a timer now. Thankfully, because Gerald wasn't overly aggressive, Mixu has time to max out. So Mixu does max. He maxes out on an army, right? It's like, it's more or less a lair tech army. We have Hydra, Roach, Ling, a little bit of Banelings. There's no lurkers here. There's no spellcasters. So not the most complex army for Mixu, but he's got to make use of it. It's all he's got. Now we get the infestation, but again, we spoke about the low or the late droning for Mixu, late tech as well. Very late infestation pit. And we already have 10% production. Like that's how late the pit is. But the reason why it's late is because I don't think Mixu really planned for the game to last this long. I'm pretty sure he did initially want to all in and wanted to be aggressive earlier, but he missed his window. Misses window, misses timing. Mixu rotates over towards the third. That's Gerald, he comes in from behind. Ooh, Storm does graze the army. More storms are coming in. Hydras are trapped. Oh no! Yeah, brutal storms. He runs past them. And Mixu's gonna lose everything here. Yeah, he will lose everything. Most High Templar do survive. Down goes the entire Zerg army. We have a secondary force here hitting the third base, hitting the fourth, I should say, but it doesn't get much done. And Mixu is going to be forced back behind this, maxing out with 26 Hydras. Good. 26 Hydras to reinforce. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Unfortunately, there's no Lurker Den, so we can't even morph in Lair Tech Lurkers. So no Lurkers. Hive is on the way eventually. By the time the Hive finishes, how many Tempests are there going to be? So far, there's 2. We have Carriers in production. Okay. Carriers are on the way. I mean, Carriers, they have their place in PvZ. They're not ideal if Mixu had Lurkers and if he was working towards Corrupted Broodlord, but against a Hydra heavy composition, sure, go ahead, right? Like, make a Carrier spec, pop off, perfectly fine. Ooh, as you can see, Mixu's trying to come in for the surround. Trying to lure him in. Gerald does notice, he pulls away, doesn't take the bait. Mixu does have a maxed out army, does have a chance here to maybe break this before it gets out of hand. Before the Sky Tusk gets out of control. But Gerald, he backs up. And may as well just wait for the carrier, right? The problem in this kind of game state is, to be honest, there is nothing pressuring Gerald to push, right? There's no reason for him to actually attack and move into these bases. He's the one with a better economy, with a better tech, with a better army. He's just gonna chill until he maxes out. Meanwhile, Mixu is going for a massive counterattack. Gerald is out of position. Okay, there's a recall. Recall on the right hand side. Ooh, Storm is denied. Yeah, no Storm with the natural. The carriers are on their own. But here comes a flank. Here comes that recall. Stealth coming from behind as well. And this Hydra army is so fragile. It's made out of paper, man. Yeah, the Hydras are all gonna be cleaned up. They're all gonna be shut down. They just don't scale well into a longer game. I mean, not like this, not pure Hydra. And now would be the time for Gerald to counterattack. Like, once again, technically he doesn't have to. Like, technically he could just back off and back. There it is. GG gets called. And Gerald, he does take game number 1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Does take a lead in the series. And again, a really rough game there for Mixu. I don't think Gerald ever actually pushed with his army, right? The closest we got was when he was just barely outside of the 3rd and 4th base, just before we almost got surrounded by the Hydras. The outside of that, very defensive play out of Gerald, which is what we expect to see out of our Polish Protoss player. Mixu, as we mentioned, unfortunately did have a bit of a shaky game. In regards to being decisive. Either you double down and you commit to a 3-base all-in, or you pull back and you drone up faster and you tech up in towards a later game. We didn't see either of that. We saw him commit initially into what looked to be a 3-base all-in, and then as he was pushing, he started to drone up heavily, right? He was droning up as he was pushing, so he started to, pull back a little bit from said all-in. To be fair, at the time, I do think that he missed his window and he missed his timing anyway, so it was just a really rough position to be in, to commit that hard into Roach Ling and to not be able to make use of it. So it's a really rough position there for Mixu. But again, either you go all in on one end or the other end, but we were a little bit middling in between there, and it led into a very messy mid game there for Mixu. He fell behind in every aspect as a result, and everything just fell apart there. But now we're getting into our next game. Spawning in the top right hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the Polish Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Streamer Zone. It is Gerald. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player, himself from the land of Finland. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is Mixu. See the chat. Let's go, Mikael, papi. Let's go. Mikael? I'll call him Mikael. I can use his first name because we are tight like that. Yes, I know top players, but it's not a big deal to me. LOL. True. Este Balmiocha. He is tight like that with Mixu. I believe they did share a bedroom when Mixu went over to DreamHack, right? The drama. God. As for now, we do have our openers. Mixu does take his natural. Likewise, Gerald take his own standard base. Mixu Force take the unnatural natural. But welcome to Ultra Love. Welcome to Ultra Love. Ultra Love is a smaller map compared to Tokamak, compared to Incorporeal. So it's a smaller map in the map pool, shorter rush distance by ground. Aggression is favored on this map, and something that was very popular for the first season of this map. I say first season because Ultra Love has been around for a while. I think 2 or 3 map pools, right? The initial map pool, it was all about German taxis, especially if you were to take this forward base as your natural. Basically, the rush distance by ground is very short. If you take this forward base as your natural, creep is going to be spreading even faster. So you can fixate and prioritize your creep spread to spread across the map even faster, to commit into something like a German taxi, which is a roach queen all-in across the map where your queens, they walk across alongside your army. We saw a lot of that back in the day in the first season of Ultra Love, and nowadays we see it every now and then. It's not as popular as it used to be, but it's going to be in the back of my mind, especially with the space being taken. So here we go. With the first bit of energy here, going to be used for an injection, not for a tumor. Bear that in mind. And we'll keep an eye on Mixu. Again, based on what we saw in game number 1, I would imagine that Mixu wants to commit a little bit harder here to aggression, and he's going to be more favored in doing so here on Ultra Love. I should also mention one other thing about this map and why all-ins are a little bit more favored here is because, unlike on other maps, there is no ramp coming into the third location. Here, the attack path, the attack angle is on the same plane of elevation as the third base. That was not the case on Incorporeal, if you remember. If you recall, the linear third base had a ramp coming into it, so it was easier to wall up, to wall off, and to defend with that high ground advantage. That is not the case here on Ultra Love, which makes it even more difficult to defend on this map. Not saying that all-ins work 100% of the time, not at all, but they're more favored. There's a little bit more just working for you in that respect. As for now, Stargate opener getting into Oracles, into a third base, so standard opener here out of Gerald. One thing goal, but it would be good to get into some tournaments as well and hopefully meet some training partners, for sure. Like, there's definitely like an active like community in regards to competing in amateur events. There used to be a little bit more back in the day with like the Platinum, almost said Platinum Heroes, with Proxy Tempest, that's it, with Proxy Tempest, with SCV Rush as well, with other orgs. Meanwhile, it's going to be a 4:30 layer timing. So layer first into the Roach Horn. And so far, no major damage here, getting 2 drone kills so far. Mixu does keep up. Mixu keeps up, Mixu defends. And Mixu, a little bit of a late reaction. Does react late, but does react in time nonetheless. Does pull away. Doesn't take too much damage. And with that, we can calm down. Behind this, Blink, +1, standard follow-up here out of Gerald. Creep is spreading across the map. Ooh, but the tumors are being denied. Nice moves here out of Gerald. Gets 1, gets 2 tumors. Does slow this down. And we have +1 range on the way, not melee. With this going to be more of a Roach heavy composition. Overlord speed, hey, we called that at the beginning of the game. German taxi, we're going for the all-in. We're going for the all-in. At this level of play, you would never get Overlord speed unless you plan on morphing in Dropper Lords. So Mixu, he's on 3 bases, takes his gases, drones up to 60, that is just under 3 base saturation, and Mixu is planning on committing into an all-in, but that's also why it's so important that Gerald is denying those creep tumors. Does deny the creep tumors. Overlords, they still spread creep nonetheless. Mixu trying to reduce the time it takes as much as he can. Actively throwing down more tumors. Now, what's important, unironically, because we're throwing down so many replacement tumors here, that means there's going to be less transfuse, which may come into play. So less energy for transfuse. Lings, they clean up the adepts at least. Drop alerts are on the way. Mixu drones. Oh, this is like last game. This is like when we're committing into hyper aggression here, and then we start droning. Ay. We saw the same thing on Incorporeal. Here comes a Ling drop into the main, but part of this might just be because Mixu's been a little bit too delayed, so maybe he's a little bit less confident. Like, here comes the army. It's been revealed. Gerald is aware. And again, Mixu is droning. Mixu is expanding. Mixu doesn't really have his heart in this. And it looks like he's just hoping to force an overreaction. But again, in my mind, it might just be because this has been delayed, this has been scattered. Gerald, he's very secure here on 3 bases. And yeah, Mixu backs off. Mixu does back off, does pull away. Again, very similar to game number 1, when Mixu was committing into an all-in and then did pull back. Which means the drones are delayed, right? We did invest quite heavily into all these roaches, into all these zerglings, where a lot of that supply could have been in workers instead. And we'll see if Mixu can successfully transition out of this into the mid game. Coming into this, I still do favor Gerald. I spoke earlier that I think Mixu, he was hoping to force an overreaction. The problem is that there wasn't really an overreaction. Gerald gets 4 more drone kills. Like Gerald, it's not like he threw down like 5 shield batteries and 10 cannons in between the bases. What did he get? Well, he got 2 cannons and 1 shield battery at the 3rd. He got 1 cannon, 1 shield battery at the natural, right? So didn't overcommit, didn't overreact. Still getting a 4th. And Storm is done. Storm is now done for Gerald. And we'll see how Mixu can handle this. Ooh, Gerald, are we being too greedy? Fleet Beacon's already on the way before the 4th base is up and running. Mixu, he is about to max out. So it goes up to almost 4 base saturation. We'll max out with Ling and Bane Hydra. And we'll see if Gerald can survive. Remember, the soup does lie. Mixu, he is maxed out, that is true, but Gerald has a more efficient army. And likewise, Mixu still has some supply tied up in roaches. So a bit of an inefficient army here. Does go for the mineral line. No armies in position. He gets in. Get a reaction. Late reaction here by Gerald. Ooh, massive connections. Oh my god. The probe stack to 16 probes go down. Very nice run by the High Templar. Up. If any zero win, they get 3. They get 1. 1 High Templar goes down. The other 2, they barely morph in time into the Archon. But honestly, nice damage out of Mixu. I'll go, but the Hydra's exposed. Yeah, the Hydra's have to get the hell out of here. Yeah, some expensive losses here for Mixu. He got some nice damage in the 3rd. But here, the main fighter gets both High Templar. Okay. Takes down the Templar. 0 storms left. No storms at the same time. They'll run back across the map, but not that many zealots. Ooh, Queen Zealots explode down. The Queens. Queens are on their own. Nice big loss here by Gerald. And Mixu turns everything around to deal with the zealots. Did turn around. The one concern here for Gerald is where are the High Templar, where are the storms? We have 3. We have 3 Templar. There's the NG overcharge. He has 1 storm. So there's 1 storm in the chamber. Morphing more zealots. Mixu, he hasn't gone back into droning, and Mixu, he has not teched up. What I mean by that, no lurkers, right? There's no tech into lurkers, there's no infestation pit, no hive. It's purely a lair tech all in here by Mixu. Just remaxing with Ling Bane Hydra. Mixu just wants to end the game, which means the longer this goes on, the better it is for Gerald. Because, hey, he got away with a VP again. At any moment, he can start a mothership. At any moment, he can start Tempest and carrier production. Speaking of, there it is. Mothership is on the way. Alongside +3. Like, again, the quality of the army for Gerald is getting better over time. I can't say the same for Mixu. Ooh, storms a mainly zone. Gets 2 Templar, gets 3. All 3 Templar go down. There's 1 Templar left. Bailey's gets to roll in. This time Gerald's in position. Yeah, nice defense by Gerald. But where are the storms? He's got 2. He's got 2 Templar. There's the first storm. That juicy connection. Sorry. Come on, we're still standing in it. Oh no. He got the full damage of the storm. And better concave here for Gerald, and Gerald will clean this up. He'll completely clean this up. Zelts make it through. Hydras, they cannot escape. They're gonna try. Oof. And Mixu's being chased down. Get out of here, Mixu. Get out of here. Aye, aye, aye. And again, as you mentioned, like Mixu, his army has a bit of an expiration date. It is getting worse over time. As we have a second Stargate, carrier production, more Hat Templar have arrived. And at this point, it's not like Mixu can just decide to drone and throw down Infestation, but at this point, he's committed, right? Oh boy. He's going for it. Let's go. Best of luck. Now, the problem here, so Lurker Den's on the way, Infestation is on the way. By the time we can even think about Hive Tech, Gerald's going to max out with Skytoss. So this is why the decision to tech up like this is a really difficult one to make. Because you're going for a Hail Mary play. You're basically saying, okay, if my opponent doesn't attack for like 5 minutes, then we can bring it back. True. If he leaves us alone, then we'll be okay. But Gerald should never leave him alone. This when he's gonna call up Cristiano. Be like, yo, can you like can you like cause a distraction or something? Ah, no. As the Hive has begun, we got our Lair Tech Lurkers on the way. Let's go. Gerald, now thankfully he only has 2 Stargates, so his transition into Skytoss is not as fast as and not as intense as last game. True, last game he already had 3 Stargates up and running. So that's going to be helping Mixu a little bit here. As Gerald is maxed. Gerald, he's maxed out. Now, he did decide to actually go into Carrier and not make any Tempest. So the Lurkers are going to have a little bit of a stronger showing here. I say a little bit just because they still don't have any upgrades. Specifically referring to the Hive range upgrades and the Burr upgrade as well. Okay, this does cause a distraction. At the same time, Mixu going right down mid. Let's go! He's going right down mid. Send it back. Oh, God. I mean, the carriers have arrived. Brutal storm on the army. Oh, God. I mean, this is the hell. This is all we got. This is all we have. Send it back. Send it. It's all we can do. Yeah, Lurkers are on their own. They're all going to be shut down, and they are revealed. And Mixu, he should lose everything here, assuming there's detection. Ooh, yeah, there is. Yeah, there's Revelation. And maybe one Lurker gets away. Get out of here, Pappy. Get out of here. And you can see Gerald, his supply unfazed. Still 200 supply. Mixu plummeted 50. Like that just shows like the disparity when it comes to the quality of the army, right? It shows how far ahead Gerald has been, and that's why these fights are going as one-sided as they are. GG gets called. Gerald, who will claim the series 2-0. He'll advance on to the semi-finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Gerald, he will claim the series. A very solid defensive play out of Gerald, which is what we expected, right? Gerald, he played very standard, very safe, very defensive, both in game 1 and in game 2. Mixu, I don't want to repeat myself, but game 2 felt very similar to game 1, where it felt like we were committing and building up into earlier aggression, into an earlier all-in, and then we did pivot away from that. We were deterred from that, and potentially for good reasons, right? Like, we did see Mixu was kind of delayed in both game 1 and game 2. I'm referring game 2 specifically to all the creep that was being denied, to the revelation, to being scattered, of course. So Mixu, he wasn't fully in it, he wasn't fully on board with the initial aggression, so he backed off and droned up and went for a later timing. The problem is that that was more delayed because of the earlier commitment from Mixu. That's applicable to both game 1 and game 2. But GG. GG, well played. With that, congratulations. Gerald, he does claim the series, and let's catch up on the bracket. Let's figure out where we are and where we are headed. Let's go.